For the love of comics.
Oh boy.
For the love of comics, we are here and we're going to do an unboxing video for fun. A little background here. So, I don't know about you guys, like if you're a comic fan, like I could actually look at 70s comic book trade dress and logos and I get this kind of dopamine response, and I get probably what drug addicts get out of things just by looking at comic
All
covers.
the memories rushing. I remember getting it. I remember the smell of the store, the whole environment that creates in your head. Yeah, it's great.
And I mean, for me, going back 70s, I frequently got my comics at pharmacies, out the spinner racks. So anyway, I was messing around with my collection. That's my hobby on Saturday, Sunday. And I just got the bug about the old Marvel giant size books.
Yeah.
And so I went on eBay, and one of our own local shops that we adore called All About Books and Comics. These guys retired, but now they're still selling on eBay. Anyway, I saw this giant run of all these giant sizes, and I just couldn't resist. So I haven't opened it. I just opened it like this. We're going to take a look at it. And before we do, don't get it twisted. These are what I'd call reader copies or beaters. And what that means is these things have been lovingly read. And in case you think that we do not know the difference, feast your eyes on a 9/8. Like when we're printing our own stuff, man, it's all about like the quest for perfection. But as a fan, I could also tell you, I sometimes just like beaters.
I like readers.
Yeah, readers and beaters. So here we go. Open it up. I'm going to pull them out one and one. Okay. So this is ridiculous.
Wow. That's a bundle.
So this is what I got. This is what we're going to kind of stick our nose in.
Wow. Oh, it's going to smell amazing. I can smell the 70s already.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that nice acid overtaking these comics. Let's get right in here. Go ahead, man. Here we go. 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 Give it a whiff.
I need a cigarette after that.
Man, these are nice.
Those are really good.
These are pretty good.
Wow.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. So, whoops, I'm already screwing up.
Ooh.
I'm good, though.
You're good.
I am. I've had to recover
That's
from
a
those
professional
before.
right there.
So I got a little note here from Alan. Hey, Brian. We hope you are doing well in this crazy time. Alan, best Marcia and Alan. Thank you, guys. All right, so let's get into it. So these are some beaten up books, but
that's still good.
Yeah,
condition.
Look, you know, I'm saying this is Gil Kane, Klaus Janson cover. I would imagine Giant Size Avengers 4. Again, I just like all the trade dress. I mean, they just couldn't fit enough stuff on there for me.
They told the story on the cover of what to expect in the book.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, this was the wedding of the decade, so. Now, there's a couple in here I must admit that I'm really looking forward to, and this one's fine. This one I definitely have in a higher grade, but it's hard to resist. A Captain America giant size. So these things were produced all during like 1975, and that's a reprint right off the top. But yeah, this was like 75, and that really made the Marvel line expand dramatically.
Well, not only that, one thing I really liked is I would tell my nieces and nephews, they're like, I'm going to Circle K. It's like, oh yeah, well you only have $1. Good luck with that. And they're like, well, what did you get for $1? It's like, well, I could get a couple comic books, a Slurpee, and a candy bar. It was great. It was awesome.
Well, yeah, and then I mean, for me, I also thought being, that they're called giant size Captain Marvel, it felt like it had more importance and gravitas. The truth is, they would usually have a lead story and then a reprint. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at what Gil Kane on here, and yeah, there's Roy Thomas writing, Dan Atkins inking. So yeah, I think these are. I mean, I'm looking at. I believe these are. This lead story is a reprint, but again, a classic story: Captain Marvel meets Captain America and Hulk. Now, this is one of the ones that I was hyped about.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, this was it for me, man. This is where we're really getting to the juice. As a kid, this is the stuff I adore and continue to adore, and it's all the monsters. I loved the idea with the Marvel books in particular that all the monsters got to be quote-unquote heroes or anti-heroes.
Yep.
And that must have been from watching the Universal monsters, because I love them too. But this cover is what made me jump on this piece.
Great.
Yeah, it's fun. Now I'm trying to hazard a guess on this. I'm going to guess Don Perlin, because sometimes they didn't credit the people on the cover. So let's see here. They're crediting Don Perlin and of course Tony Isabella, the great Tony Isabella, creator of Black Lightning. Clearly Vince Colletta inks. Super cool stuff. Special issue. And as a kid, I'm buying into it. I'm like, oh my God, this is a special issue.
Well, I remember
they're telling me it's special, so it's special.
I used to buy the Marvel movie adaptation ones they did,
Yeah.
so I bought the Jaws 2 one because I couldn't see the movie in theater because I was too young. But oh my God, just special issues, the big banners and everything. You're just like, it's super special because it's Jaws 2, and I bought it.
There you go.
I bought into it and I loved it.
Again, continuing, here's a giant-sized Daredevil 1, another Gil Kane cover. Let's see, he's fighting Electro, Gladiator, and what's this guy's name again?
Stiltman. Yeah.
Stiltman?
Or Stilt, something like that,
Stilt,
yeah.
I think it's Stiltman. Oh, and then this frog dude whose name escapes me. Daredevil in this era and before had some really peculiar villains, like this one guy, was he called the Gibbon?
The monkey type villain?
Yeah, it was sort of like a crazy monkey dude. Here we go. Gene Colan, killer art. Moving on again. Like here you go, giant-sized Defenders. And Defenders, particularly at this time, were a very peculiar group, right? They were kind of a clandestine group led by Doctor Strange, Submariner, and Hulk, but they had all these tripped-out guest stars, like this dude, Darkhawk, Valkyrie, who, of course, I loved and had to be subconsciously an influence on Lady Death, I'd imagine. Of course, Doc Strange, who's just the best. And here we have Son of Satan.
It was interesting when they did that team because that was like the team that had the members that, there were other teams, but they didn't seem to really fit in those teams. But when they had their group, the Defenders, they just clicked.
Yeah, and I guess, I don't know if it was by design, but the stories were always peculiar.
Yes.
So Keith Giffen had a run where a guy named David Anthony Kraft was the writer. Keith Giffen was the artist, and he was doing a Kirby-esque vibe, and they were fighting this group called the Zodiac.
That rings a bell, yes.
Their lead bad guy was, I think, a guy named Scorpio. That's my recollection of it. And the art's insane. I was actually looking at it again. Doc Savage was a license for Marvel Comics, so he got one. And here we're going again on some other favorites. So Giant Size Fantastic Four. And, as a kid, I'm trying to remember if, I think this might have been a first-run story, too. So here you go. You got the team. Jerry Conway, the great co-creator of Punisher. John Buscema and Chick Stone. So I do think that this was a first-run story in here. I could be wrong, but, there's the team, man. John Buscema. It just doesn't really get better. I don't care what you say. And then the backup is a reprint.
Well, I remember for the longest time before they did trades, the only way you could get reprinted stories was in collected editions they would release, quarterly, I think it was?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And again, another Avengers one. I'm always excited about Thor, so here's a cool Thor one, and I do think we're looking at a Buscema cover inked by Joe Sinnott. That'd be my guess. They're not getting credited on the cover at the time.
Great cover.
And this is their number one, but definitely starts off with a Jack Kirby, Vince Colletta reprint. And again, as a kid, if I'm reading that for the first time, it's just new to me.
Yeah.
There's the Destroyer.
Yeah.
I have a Destroyer Bowen statue in my personal collection because I love that character.
That thing is classic.
Yeah, what a character. Yeah, so this whole thing is reprints. Really cool. This one's crazy. So Giant Size Werewolf by Night. It's got a big number 3 on it. And got the Great Evil Knievel ad.
Oh, man.
Very crispy Arizona acid.
Yes.
Like if you go East Coast and you find old beater copies, there's a
moisture smell
correct.
to it.
Yeah, out here, it's just
dry.
It's dry acid. What do we got here? I couldn't tell one or the other if this is a repro. Maybe someone smarter than me out there knows. Don Perlin, of course. Sal Trappini inking. Here we go. So I got that number 3, and I got another werewolf.
Nice.
And the Perils of Pain Gloss. So some of these villains are tripped out. There's a particular book I'm waiting for because I have a distinct sense memory between the werewolf, the giant-sized chillers, and this other one. It's what I was after. But here you go, another giant-sized Fantastic Four, number 3. Hope you guys are still with us as we nerd out.
Guys, this is great. It's Christmas.
So the Fantastic Four battle, the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And again, I'm thinking this is a first-run book in here. Jerry Conway writing, along with Marv Wolfman, the great Marv Wolfman, who we know from many, many series like Teen Titans and Crisis on Infinite Earths. And then this particular art team slayed me as a kid, Rich Buckler and Joe Sinnott. Like anything Joe Sinnott does is incredible, and he's so distinct. So Rich Buckler, amazing, rest in peace. Same thing with Joe Sinnott, passed in the last year. But the work is amazing. Stands up to time. Another Fantastic Four. And this is Psycho Man. And this is definitely a reprint. You can see the old school beautiful Kirby stuff. Probably now look at this monster. Like you wonder why I read comics, man. Come on.
I remember reading that thing. I was like, "What the hell?" I see, and that's why I loved the Marvel Godzilla comics too, because it was a Godzilla comic,
outlandish.
But they had the weirdest looking monsters for him to fight. It's like, wow, like Bataran. It's a bat dragon thing, and it's really neat.
Giant size Iron Man, and I guess these are first run covers. This is Gil Kane for sure. Now here's a classic.
There you go.
Everybody knows, right? It's a beater copy, but it's Giant Size Man Thing. Giant Size Man Thing. Classic.
And the Glob.
The Glob. So let's see here. I think this might be I don't know, guys. Is this a first run? But there's that sick Mike Plug art. So cool. That guy's art is so great. Steve Gerber writing. Amazing. Steve Gerber, obviously co-creator Howard the Duck. And he's up against, these are like these globby kind of characters. So I remember seeing this guy maybe in the Hulk.
They were also, in their horror books they brought him back. Like Groot was in a book back in the late 50s, early 60s, and then they brought him into the Hulk and everything else, and the next thing you know, he's in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
You know, it's funny you should say that, dude. That's probably like another topic. So in probably the last 2 years, that's exactly what I've been doing, is going back into time and looking at the timely books and looking at the first appearances of characters, including Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Thor.
There's a Doctor Strange, too.
Doctor Strange, like all those amalgam characters who eventually came to become these characters that we love and adore. It's pretty fascinating because it's as if guys like Kirby and Stan Lee are doing rough drafts of these characters.
Exactly. And one thing is neat is when I would buy huge collections with old stuff, you know, I'd break out the Overstreet and start doing my research, because you never know what who appeared or what major story arcs are in these things. And it's a great history lesson, because it was like, oh wow, I did not know that's where I found out Groot was in a monster book in the early 60s before he became Groot. He was just a giant tree-like monster on the cover. I remember that.
Yeah, he was a villain. So this is a funny one, I think. So Giant Size Marvel Triple Action. So Marvel Triple Action was a reprint magazine in the 70s, and now they got their own Giant Size. So that's a reprint of a reprint of a reprint of a reprint. Some crazy characters in there.
Oh, here we go.
So don't get it twisted, man. This is a Giant Size Master Kung Fu with rips and tears, but your boy Brian Pulido has a complete set of Master of Kung Fu, starting number 15 onward, and I got all these in like super cherry shape. But again, there's still one more comic I'm looking for in this batch of beaters.
That's some
of course, Power Man, Luke Cage, fantastic. Again, this is totally my time.
Wow,
that's
cool. Cherry. That was in the mix, dude.
Look at that.
Wow.
Giant Size Spidey and Master Kung Fu. This one's decent. VF.
Yeah,
sort
that's
of clean.
Really good compared to everything else. That's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, this is totally within my expectations. Another thing you need to know about me as a collector is I'm into the pursuit of perfection, but I just get a lot of joy out of beaters and coverless comics. I don't care.
Yeah, I remember getting a collection of Golden Age books that all had the covers stripped off, and they were like EC and stuff like that. It was amazing to find.
That's a pretty one.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so I mean, all the Marvel team-up stuff is just too great. Oh, that's neat. The one I want is on the bottom. So anyway, yep, here we go. Giant Size Spidey. But that's some hoot. That art is great. Super simple. So again, we're talking 75 and published annually. Now, simultaneous to this, Marvel was doing annuals too, because Captain America had annuals.
Yep.
So another great one. Here we go.
There you go.
Giant Size Superheroes featuring Spidey and Morbius, the living vampire, and the Man Wolf. If you remember, Man Wolf was J. Jonah Jameson's son, who was an astronaut. And last but certainly not least, here is Giant Size Superstars featuring Fantastic Four. This cover is amazing. Again, I'm going to guess Rich Buckler and Joe Sinnott. Heavy, heavy, heavy Kirby influence. The reason, so this is the one that really made me, and inside here we got the Rich Buckler, Joe Sinnott. And again, Buckler going through a heavy Kirby phase. And a lot of these guys who started professionally had Kirby phases. You could look at guys like even Steranko, Barry Windsor Smith, sort of like people start out like that, right? And then branch off. But My sense memory of this one, Julian, is it's this time. I got it probably coming off the rack, 74, and I'm sitting with my mom and my sister having lunch at a Chinese food restaurant, listening to soul music.
Oh,
So,
wow,
I'm
that's
a big
70s.
Yeah, and the thing people may or may not know
Yeah.
about me is like, look, I'm all about the metal and the hard rock and stuff, but I'm a music fan, and I love soul music. So this, just brings me back. So this was
Yo.
great. Well, anyway, anything you want to say in conclusion?
Thank you for sharing, man. This is great. What a great package you got.
I think I did pretty good, man. A
Yeah,
little
you
trip
did.
down memory lane. Well, you guys have been great. This has been our segment called For the Love of Comics. Have a great day. Talk to you later, everybody.